For some days now, the hashtag Release the Snyder Cut has been around on Twitter. We are talking about the Zack Snyder Cut of Justice League, which is now demanded by several prominent Hollywood celebrities. Among them are Ben Affleck, Wonder Woman Gal Gadot, and Ray Fisher, who portrays the Cyborg in Justice League. Snyder's response on Twitter was also immediate, as he shared the tweets and added a comment that both Batman and Wonder Woman can't be wrong. The timing of the tweets is also no coincidence, as it falls exactly on the day when Justice League was released 2 years ago. However, many fans and actors are still not satisfied with the version published at that time and demand the version by Zack Snyder, who could not finish the film for personal reasons, so he was not responsible for the final version. But what are the chances that we will see the Snyder version in the foreseeable future? Probably rather poor, because the studio responsible, Warner Brothers, would have to invest a lot of money in marketing, special effects and potential re-releases to get the Snyder version on the market. Especially since Justice League itself was very expensive and didn't make enough money. Also, the magazine Hollywood Reporter claims to know that Warner is definitely not planning a release at the moment. Would you like to see the Snyder Cut? Then, according to some industry magazines, you should join the Release the Snyder Cut movement as well. After all, today's film studios look very closely at what their fans are demanding online, as we've recently seen at Sonic. A director has finally been found who will take over the sequel of the cult 80s movie Robocop. Little Monsters director Abe Forsyth is said to have been hired to direct the script of the original authors Edward Neumeier and Michael Miner, which was created together with Terminator Dark Fate author Justin Rhodes. Similar to Halloween or the new edition of Terminator, the unpopular sequels Robocop 2 and 3 will be ignored, which means that the new Robocop will directly tie in with the original of 1987. Whether the Robocop franchise can also be modernized, however, is questionable. A similar attempt was already made in 2014 with a new Robocop film, which, however, fell far short of expectations. Director Forsyth's premise will probably be similar to the one of his predecessor, namely to stay as close as possible to the brutal and satirical original. When we will see policeman Alex Murphy in his robot body on screen again isn't certain yet, however. In December 2022, the first Star Wars movie by the Game of Thrones makers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss was supposed to be released in the cinemas. As we reported, they left the Star Wars universe a few weeks ago due to other commitments. The date 2022 for a new film still exists for Lucasfilm, however. According to a Rolling Stone interview with Kathleen Kennedy, it is not yet clear what the next film after Episode 9 will look like. According to many journalists, this is exactly the point, because Kennedy is an experienced and competent producer, but not a creative mastermind like, for example, Kevin Feige from Marvel. He is not only a great expert on comic books, but also approves the cast of the films. Kennedy's disadvantage in the creative field could now be compensated by someone completely different, namely Mandalorian producer Jon Favreau, who, according to the Hollywood Reporter, will have a lot to say about Star Wars in the future. Many fans would probably wish that Favreau would take up a position similar to that of Kevin Feige. In any case, he has already gained a lot of experience, among others as director of Iron Man or the Lion King remake. But his greatest merit for the Star Wars franchise is certainly the Mandalorian series, which has been running on Disney Plus since the beginning of November and has been well received by fans and critics. It remains to be seen whether he will eventually take over Kathleen Kennedy's position on Star Wars. Before that, he is still busy with Jungle Book 2 and the second season of The Mandalorian. At first it was said that there shouldn't be a sequel to the Joker movie. Now it seems that the tide has turned, because as the Hollywood Reporter reports, despite some statements, there will probably be a Joker 2. According to the magazine, director Todd Phillips is currently in negotiations for a sequel to the best R-rated movie of all time. His scriptwriter Scott Silver, who is said to have made a significant contribution to the Joker's portrayal, will also return next to Phillips. The big question, of course, is whether leading actor Joaquin Phoenix will also be seen as the clown in front of the camera again. The Hollywood Reporter also thinks to have an answer to this question, as Phoenix's contract should contain a clause similar to other franchise films that can get him back for possible sequels. And this even though Todd Phillips actually stated from the beginning that Joker was supposed to be a one-time thing, for which no sequel is planned. But at that time, nobody had expected that the Joker, which was produced relatively cheaply for a film of its size with approximately 63 million US dollars, could break the magic $1 billion mark. However, the sequel is definitely not yet set, because as Phillips pointed out in the past days, certain conditions are attached to a sequel. Among other things, he has to come up with something really worth telling about the protagonist Arthur Fleck, and that he could under certain circumstances include a side story about Batman and co. We are curious if Phillips will come to an agreement with Warner, and of course we will keep you up to date on further Joker news.